Folks, today I am joined by Sharlto Copley, an actor you know from films such as District 9, Elysium, Maleficent, and his new film Beast, which hits theaters on August 19th. Thank you for joining me today, sir, and how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you? I love the name BroBible. Now I'm curious. I got to go check out what that is.
It's basically just anything a man who has existed on Earth might care about in one place.
I love it. I love it.
So I want to start with the process of actually shooting this film. What was the most difficult part of the shoot? Was it the physicality of your performance, or was it trying to portray emotion and fear in the face of CGI lions? How did this role challenge you most?
Actually, most was the fact that the director, Baltazar, shot it very much in these one take in this one take style. So we would do, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 7-minute takes to immerse on Steadicam the whole time, sitting with one lens on the movie. So I'd never done that before. And I didn't actually know until we got there that that's what he was intending to do. And there was some sort of discussion between him and the studio and stuff that that's what he was doing. And he was committing to shooting stuff without the level of coverage you normally would. And it was an amazing level of confidence that he showed because he'd never done that before either. So he's got to time that stuff out in his head that it's not going to get boring. And we've got to rehearse, some of the scenes we rehearsed for like the whole day, and then we do like 4 takes as the sun's going down. And that's all you got. It's like, don't blow the 7 minutes. And for me, I love to just mix it up and change lines and throw in ideas when directors want that. But you got to be very careful about how to do that don't come up with a line he's not going to like 5 minutes into a 7-minute oneer. If you're going to change it, you best deliver. And it's like, we sort of mix and match, sometimes I'd win and sometimes he'd be like, no, start again, go again, I'm just like, oh, fuck, I'm the guy that just blew it for everybody. Just say the line. And then other times I'm like, dude, I'm giving you gems. He's like, no, that wasn't a gem. So, yeah.
I'd like to say that you've bought yourself the credibility at this point to have some room to play in that sense.
Yeah.
So let me ask you about the relationship of your character and Idris's. I felt that it was very much that of brothers almost. Exactly. Now we're tying it all in.
Yeah.
See
how I did that? I just gave you that pearl right there.
That's why you're the pro.
Bolt should learn. Yeah. So you took it.
How'd you guys go about forming that bond and bringing it to life on screen? Because I know it's part of your job to pretend these things, but sometimes to create that level of connection and broship, I would imagine there's some behind the scenes real life bonding.
Yeah, I find that, to be honest, an energetic thing that you sort of quite quickly see, oh, I can have this with this guy or not. And early on in the process, before we started shooting, Idris, it was just some sort of private stuff with us that we had some sort of deep conversations about Africa and some of the stuff that was going on, and really like honest conversations about things that I was like, okay, man, this is a thinking guy, this is a legit guy, and somebody that has a genuine interest in Africa and the issues going on, and like is not going to have like the PC version of conversations with me. And it's like, okay, that was enough to kind of energetically feel that there was something there. This is somebody that I could befriend, And then behind scenes, I mean, we watched football. We watched the Britain. What was it? The European Cup of Nations. We watched England in the final together. And England lost.
Against the Italians, right?
That's right.
I'm a proud Italian, so I will take that one.
And my producer who works for me was supporting Italy. I was choosing England because it's my heritage. It was a wild night that ended very depressed for
PKs will just drain it out of you, man. I never want to go through that ever again. I swear.
It was crazy. I was wanting that. I was the only one in the group that I was telling people who didn't watch soccer. There were some Americans and people who didn't know about it, and I was like, they didn't watch football, and I was like, listen, if it gets to penalty shootout, this is going to be the most exciting shit. Because they'd sit there like, oh, this is boring. I'm like, wait. If it gets to a penalty shootout, this is way more exciting than basketball or anything else you're going to do. And
PKs are great when it's not, when you have no rooting interest.
It's amazing. It was just the pressure. I'm like, just imagine the pressure on players in that environment. It's
Yeah.
just, I can't think that you'd be in a more pressurized situation in your life in the world.
Maybe if
I'm
it's
trying.
the World Cup.
Yeah, but I'm saying, and give me some other example. It's like it's you win or lose, and it gets worse as it goes.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
You know, and then
Sudden death. Yeah. All right. Let's let
I'm
me,
out.
because I could talk ball
We're
all
distracted.
day.
Yes.
Were there any moments when you were filming with Idris that you felt yourself thinking, "Oh, this guy's a movie star. Like this is why he's built the career that he has."
Yeah, there really were. Honestly, there were. Like I was talking about it earlier. Just moments with him, man. Like there was an effortlessness to how he did stuff, and it doesn't happen to me often. I'm not actually sure it's happened before, where as I come, you know, I'm working with someone, I'm like, this guy's really raising the bar here in what he's doing. And I remember actually just watching him in the scene where he's drunk at one point in the movie. And I kind of zoned out, and I just watched him almost as if I was literally, I wasn't in character, I was just Sharlto. I was just like, this is the most incredible fucking drunk performance that I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, how the fuck is he doing that?
I always wonder
because first take, because I didn't know what he was gonna do. You know, we hadn't rehearsed or anything. He just goes. It was the first take, and I'm just like, oh my god. And then it's like, oh yeah, I have a line. And then I'm like, I'm Martin again. And then I was used to it. But the first time I kind of zoned out. I was like, holy shit, man. Like, and he also likes to just, we would sort of play with each other and just mix up what we did from the previous take a little bit with a slight variation on the line or just the tone of it or something to keep it fresh. Subtly just doing that for each other all the time, which is just magic. I loved it.
So I'm going to try to build a bridge between this film and the film that I'm going to ask you about next. Are there any different nuances in portraying emotion when the threat is of this earth, i.e. a lion or nature, versus when the threat is something not of this earth, i.e. aliens? Or is it all one and the same?
I think it's the same thing, man. I think, like, metaphorically, of course, the beast in this movie is just the beast that you face in your life, any kind of beast, the thing that can take you out, that can take your family out. And it's a constant, that for me is part of life. And you realize that when you're out in the bush like this. I used to take these mountain bike rides through the bush by myself for a couple of days during the shoot, which they let me do, which was amazing to be able to do that, and utterly terrifying and utterly profound. And I would get home every day, literally, and be like, I feel like I'm on absolute high because I'm still alive.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, dude. Like, if you're suffering from depression or you're dealing with anything, go and spend some time in the bush and just live to the end of the day. To do that, we genetically designed to, that's what happiness is at a biological level. It's like, I got food, I'm not dead or maimed by any of these fucking things out here that could do this to me. And I kept doing it. I was terrified every day. I kept going out. Eventually I got charged by a black rhino, and it turns like 3 meters from me, man. At the last minute, it decides like it knows what I am or doesn't know what I am, and so it's gonna verge around me. But I was trying to get off the bike. I didn't have time. My idea was to like get off the bike and throw the bike into it and then see if I could get, there weren't any trees nearby, there were like some shrubs. And I was like, well, on foot, maybe I can dodge this guy. I just came around a corner and he was already sprinting at me, because that's what they do, the black rhinos, they just come at you. And yeah, man.
Sounds like you went a bit method.
I did. I definitely did on that part, because I didn't get to wrestle real lions. So I was like, well, this is gonna be like, this is like wrestling this is like wrestling a high school mascot as the lion. So give me the real thing. Like, and I just went out and terrified myself every day. And then in front of the crew, I'd always, or the you know, the executives at night, because we'd be having dinner around the campfire every single night. And it was amazing. Like, that also for bonding was incredible to be able to do that under the stars, and you're hearing bush. And then I would always try and act super cool. Like, yeah, no, I'm fine, I'm a South African. I can go in the bush, no problem. Meanwhile, most of the time I was just dying and just relieved when I came home that I was still alive. It was amazing.
So let me now ask you about District 9, which I'm sure is a film that you've talked about ad nauseum throughout the 15 years since it's been out. But I think it's genuinely worth it, because I truly consider this film to be one of the best sci-fi films of my lifetime. Every time I rewatch it, I am awed by how equally unsettling it is and tense it is and heartbreaking, and the way it weaves in socio-political commentary and body horror and family drama. It is one of the best films I've ever seen, truly. Did you know at the time that you were making one of the great sci-fi films of the last 30 years? At what point did you realize, wow, we're making something special here?
I mean, it was, I really did have that feeling early on, but I didn't know if people would get it. You know, so it was, so meaning it was special to me and Neil. I was like, we're doing something that's deeply personal to us in terms of our experiences and our art and what we like. And it was a true connection and kind of one of those moments where the stars align and I could bring everything that I'm good at and he could bring everything he was good at. And it was a sort of a magical thing. And he actually teased me for about 24 hours afterwards because we had a time difference. He was in New Zealand. He'd actually told me that when Sony saw the movie, they weren't going to release it theatrically because it wasn't really working. And because, you know, we sort of prank each other. And I felt this sort of disappointment, but at the same time, and the odds were so against us that I actually then, you know, I settled with that over the 12 hours. Then I sent him an email and I was like, dude, it doesn't matter. Like the fact that we made this, I'm so proud of what we've made. And then he's like, oh, no, dude. It's like, obviously they love it. They're like freaking out for it. I was like, dude, fuck off, man. You could have told me, like, don't make me wait 24 hours for that shit.
He's like, yeah, dude, we made a sick fucking movie. Of course they love it.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Crazy. Man. So why do you think that film has struck a chord in the way that it has, other than it just being of the highest quality? Because when I told people that I was going to speak to you, the effusive praise for this film was deafening.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things that, for me, as an audience member, I've been kind of disappointed that there weren't more films like that. You know, when something comes out that feels like it's sort of more real legit art almost, if you will, but also commercially entertaining. I mean, there's the, you know, the latest thing that I saw was what is it? Everything Always...
Everywhere all at once.
Everywhere all at once. You know, where you'd see something like, wow, okay, that's refreshing. So as a film fan, like, I think it just does the things that you want good movies to do. You feel it. Above all else, you feel it. You feel the main character. And that's one of the hardest things to get right in the film.
Yes.
You feel the intensity of the character as an actor when you get a role that you can do that with. I mean, I haven't had one since then.
Even to this day, there's scenes I'm like, and I've seen it 20 times. I'm like, I can't watch this right now. I feel so bad for this guy. Yeah,
where you know, what they'd set up, we improving everything, but the story is, I'm improving all the lines, but the scenes have been set up in a way that the intensity is there, that you can take the audience with the character. Number one thing for me, it's like, I remember at the time people talking about the action sequences in the movie, and one of the Transformers movies was out there, and I love Bay, and I love the way he does action a lot of the time, but I remember we flipped a car. You know, there's a scene at the end where
you get hit?
Dude, the car just ramps up and does a turn. They were doing that on the A-Team in the 80s, okay? But the audience in the United States at Comic-Con, they cheered when that happened. And I was like, how? Like, it's just a car flip, man. Like with a robot. Like, it's not, you don't have to do like 20 million a tank flying into being swung into a 747. You just have to make them feel it. And it's,
oh man, well,
it's you know, that's.
No, I just want to say congrats on that film, because that is going to stand the test of time as an absolute masterpiece. I've got to wrap here.
Cool,
Your
man.
friend Neil, who you've known for 20 plus years at this point, I imagine, has said that a sequel is in the works. Has he involved you in the creative process at all?
Man, we've been
Please,
working.
go ahead.
You know, I did a draft. I sent it back to him. He's done a draft. It's like just trying to find the right sort of story. There were some things going on socio-politically that he felt maybe timing-wise he didn't want to go immediately. So maybe in like a year and a half, like he wants to have something to say, you know.
Because Christopher promised he'd come back in 3 years, and that's a promise. Bro. And that's a promise that I want delivered on. Sharlto, ever since I was introduced to you in that film, I have found you to be one of the most compelling performers out there. So I thank you for both your work and your time today, sir.
Thank you, bro. I hope to visit you again soon on this great named website.
Thank you, brother. Check
Cheers,
it out.
brother. Bye.
Cheers, Sharlto. Bye-bye.